Hello, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you happen to be in the world. My name is James O'Brien, Managing Director of iIntro. I'm joined today by Paul Hickey. Paul, just a little introduction of yourself.
Yeah, hi Paul. Yeah, co-founder of iIntro and managing director and co-founder of Grass Greener, the executive search company.
Excellent. So most of you have probably met us at some point during your journey with iIntro. What we want to share with you today is some of the advancements in technology that have been taking place over the last 6 to 12 months. And particularly, I know we've all heard a lot about it, and some of you may be bored by this, but particularly today, what we want to do is talk about ChatGPT and the way that that can help you in your daily workflows with iIntro. So, Paul, I know you've been looking at this for a while, so why don't you sort of share some of your experiences?
Yeah, well, in Blue Peter fashion, I've already pulled some search criteria, which we'll run through now. I mean, we were shown this a couple of months ago, and it kind of knocked our socks off in terms of how accurate it is. I mean, editing still needs to take place, but essentially it's using AI and it's using, I think, everything it can find on the internet to pull it together, but it reads like a story. It reads like a professional copywriter has put content together. So it's really interesting for things like, you can turn job descriptions into job ads into job descriptions. You can write executive summaries for candidates based on pulling information from, say, for example, McQuaig's key competency questions and answers, their LinkedIn profile, their resume, and it'll create an executive summary. I mean, they typically take me an hour or two to write when I deliver a shortlist as a recruiter, and now they take 15 minutes, and they're better than anything I could have done. So we've got some live examples, James, if we can show
Yeah, why don't you
those.
share your screen, Paul?
Yeah, I'll do that now. So share screen. So this is ChatGPT. You can sign up. I think there might be a small waiting list now or waiting time to get on, but it's not an app-based thing. It's just a browser thing. You can use it on your iPhone, etc.
So people can just search for
James,
ChatGPT and find it.
yeah, we've had some fun with it at the recent recruitment expo where we asked it to write a song in the style of UB40, and our good friend Brad Shackleton sang it for us. So, we can do all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff. But to give an example, I'll copy this text in here. So you need to give it good instruction. You need to talk to it as though you're briefing a copywriter, I guess, or albeit in simple terms. So write me a compelling 350-word job advert for a senior communications manager at Arsenal Football Club. Salary is 50,000. The ideal candidate should be a supporter of Arsenal Football Club. So I'm giving it quite specific commands in terms of saying, write me something that's compelling. That means something to it. I'm giving it a word count. I'm giving it the job title, the salary, the place, and a little bit more in terms of soft facts, like should be a supporter. So if we press start there, look how it turns it into something that's actually compelling. It's readable. It puts it as an ad rather than just a job description. So it's obviously pulling from everywhere on the internet, probably Arsenal's website, probably Indeed job ads that have been and gone. So it's just amazing.
And I think what I want to point out here, Paul, is that we're actually doing this live. So this isn't speed of film. This is us. You just type this in, and this is the pace and the speed at which it's coming out at, which is just incredible.
I think it can sometimes be faster or slower, just depending on the usage of it. Obviously, it's a new thing. So what you can do now is you can go and copy and paste that into into a Word document or wherever. Naturally, you're going to make some changes. For our UK family, it is Americanized with the Z's in organization, so we need to change those to an S. But again, if you pull it into a Word document, you can do it as a find and change all. So that's a good example. And then, well, sorry, James. So what you could do here is you could go, you could say change the above text into a job description.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to take the advert and change it into more of a formal JD. So it'll probably list more tasks. So things like that you can do. As I said, as Blue Peter, I did some more search tags earlier. Now, something we all like to do once in a while is Google ourselves. So why not chat GPT yourself? So in here, very self-centered, egotistical recruiter like me would type, write me a blog about Paul Hickey, the recruitment consultant from Leeds, and tell me about his credentials in the chemicals industry, which is where I typically recruit. Why you'd consider using him for an executive search project. What does Paul, or what benefits do Paul and Grass Greener bring to my search requirements? So let's see what it's got to say about me.
Again,
Hopefully
Paul,
nice
you can
things.
see it. Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing here is, again, the speed at which this is generating it based on input from various search engines, particularly sort of driving this through. But the reason I find this so fascinating is quite often the hardest part is to get started when you're writing something, be it about yourself, your company, or organization. So for content writing and idea generation, it's just amazing in terms of what this is doing.
I would say that so far, in terms of writing a blog, so you might, as a recruiter, you might want to write a blog on the top 10 interviewing techniques for clients in the chemicals industry. So you're trying to make it more personalized. With that sort of thing, you might need to edit only 2 or 3% of it, because it's pulling from a mass data source. Every man and his dog has written about this, so it just pulls probably the most relevant or most popular, depending on what you ask it to do. If you're writing about something more specific, so for example, you might be writing about iIntro, for example, it will find information on iIntro, but compared to my previous example, it's going to be limited. So that might require, that might require 30% editing, for example. So depending on what you're searching for, it depends on what you need to do. But this is good. I mean, in terms of, obviously, it's found some information about me. It's all relevant. So if you've got a new starter, you need to build their LinkedIn profile, or you're doing a piece for the website about them, or just a promotional piece, then it's done for you. I would probably need to change 5 or 10% of that just to make it a little bit more me sounding, if that makes sense.
But absolutely. But the time saving it's done there, Paul, is incredible. So again, so what we've looked at there is, so far looked at an example of creating a job advert, which all recruiters are going to be doing when they're sort of working on vacancies. Create a little promo blog. What's next on the list? What have you got coming up next?
Let's have a look at this one. So write me a 500-word white paper. Now, granted, a white paper might be 1,500 or 3,000 words, but for the sake of this, a 500-word white paper on why, as a hiring manager, I should consider using a retained executive recruiter who uses iIntro rather than a contingent recruiter. List at least 5 benefits. So again, slightly different language pattern, but I'm being very specific in terms of what I want it to do. I mean, I don't need to read it out, but I mean, it's clearly going to start listing 5 elements, and then of course with a white paper, you could be very specific about your industry that you're recruiting or the type of recruitment you do, and then you could send this out, couldn't you? You could use a landing page, and you could offer this out to clients in your industry. We've written a white paper about XYZ. Would you like a copy? Just give us your email address and we'll send it across. Absolutely, so it's just creating engagement. This type of thing, you'd probably, it'd be £500,000 to give to a copywriter, probably for a briefing session. Never mind the work.
Yeah, I'm hoping you said £500 to £1,000, not £500,000, which is what I heard. So I think you said 5.
Yeah, I think some of them might.
Yeah, but again, I think for a lot of clients.
I was going to say, James, it tends to always give a structure where it usually has an opening, and then it does. If you ask it to do, say, 5 things, it will do, and then it'll give a conclusion as well. So pretty professional. But all of these things, as we look at these as recruiters, this is spot on, isn't it? It answers the question really, really well. These are some of the main reasons why you should consider using a retained recruiter over a contingent one. Any thoughts on that, James?
Yeah, I do, Paul. I've got a few thoughts on that once you get your next one loaded up. I think for a lot of our clients, whether they're small, medium, or larger clients, creating content that's this is a game changer from my point of view. I think in terms of helping businesses, create something that they can push out there, as you say, for a white paper, for a blog, for a LinkedIn post. And if you don't start doing it, more and more people are going to be doing this. So you're going to need to sort of keep up. But it's taken away the barrier to entry of being able to do this, because as I just said, Paul, £500 to £1,000, most people may choose to shy away from that and just end up not doing it. Now you can do it in seconds.
That's for one article, isn't it? That's for one article. And if you need if we're talking about this forms part of marketing. Now, whether that's a lead generation approach or whether it's just dressing your shop window, you need to look good, and you need to, if you're going to try and be an authority. I mean, let's face it, James, most of our intro clients, they want to become authorities in their particular niches, usually very specific recruiters. And by constantly creating content, it just builds your profile and it just adds to that claim of being an authority in the industry. So I know that a lot of recruitment companies, mine in the past, has employed quite expensive copywriters, and then you need a marketing manager, and then you need designers, and then you need a social media bod. So before you know it, you're spending $100,000 a year on keeping up with the Joneses. So you've got to make it. If that said, a lot of people can't afford that, and they do need to do it in house, or they need to do it by themselves. So this is a great way to get really good content out there, providing it's meaningful. And do it not, I suppose do it on the cheap, but do it well at the same time. So that's a great angle.
And I think one of the other things, Paul, whilst we think about this as well, Paul, what you're saying there is when people are creating this as a white paper, you might need to make it look as if it's been properly set. For example, there are other tools out there as well with regards to artificial intelligence, which will create imagery for you, which you can use to create really good looking documents. Again, far simpler than before.
There's a partner of ChatGPT. So when you sign into GPT, it'll direct you to go and take a look at one that creates graphic designs. So that'll create you let's say, for example, you want a really weird picture. You want I don't know, you want a donkey on a beach eating a stick of Blackpool rock. It'll create you a unique image from it's really funny. So you can have some fun with it as well. But it'll create you, it will create you images, but you can pull it together as a document. So lots to do. James, I've got a couple more examples I want to share. The bad hire calculator is something that sort of forms the basis of why clients should work with a retained recruitment company. I think it's underutilized in the iIntro family. I think it's fantastic. I love work. Every client I speak with, we talk about the bad hire calculator, and I'm just about to start a marketing strategy which really pushes this. I mean, it's for free. People find it interesting, and it takes 2 minutes to use. So naturally, we need to put out some content about it. So ChatGPT, write me a blog on the bad hire calculator and explain the associated costs of a bad hire in a business. Explain what some of the associated costs are. So a very simple piece of direction. Let's see what it does. Making a bad hire can be a cost mistake for any business, from lost productivity to decreased morale. True. The costs associated with a bad hire can add up quickly. So absolutely right. Lost productivity, recruitment costs. And with recruitment costs, remember, it's not just recruiting the first time round, it's replacing them. So typically they'd have it twice. Cost, training costs. Morale is one that isn't typically calculated, but is really, really important. And it is expensive when you put pounds behind it, or dollars. Reputation. So I could have asked it to write me 10 or 12 elements here. It's gone for 5. But I mean, this is what we talk about, isn't it, James? This is part of the iIntro DNA. This is part of how we attract new clients into our recruitment businesses when talking about the bad hire calculator and the costs and what we can save them with our improved retention rates. So that I'd be happy. I mean, I'd have to glance through that, but at first glance, with minimal editing, I'd be happy to put that out as a piece of content.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
Let's go with it. I've done a couple more here. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, excuse me.
I'm hoping Paul, people are watching this and find that it's just fascinating, isn't it, in terms of to see what
it is. Well, if you've never seen it before, James, you and I were sat together a little while ago when somebody showed it to us. We're thinking, this is just going to save us hours, and we've started to refine it, haven't we? And it's like anything. The more you learn about it, the better you become at it. Let's have a look at this one. As a contingent recruiter who is fed up with assuming all the risk and getting low fees, tell me how I can transition to become a retained recruiter and list some of the main benefits of doing so. So you can type it in for whilst it's loading this. You can do anything. We're going to Qatar, to Doha for a short holiday in a couple of weeks. Tell me the top 10 things to do with a family. Well, tell me the top 10 things to do with a family in Doha.
Yeah.
And there it is. It gave me a great list, so I didn't have to go searching TripAdvisor and one thing and another. Job done.
Yeah.
So there you go. Look, build relationships, specialize, set clear expectations.
Yeah.
Be prepared to invest time and resource.
Yeah.
More predictable revenue. These are the benefits: higher fees, better relationships, more control, increased credibility. All that is true. All that's really relevant. Again, probably with minimal. If I was looking to bring recruiters into my recruitment company, this might be something that I put in one of my candidate packs when asking them to evaluate the opportunity. Again, with minimal editing. Let's have a look at what else we've got. This is really useful. I found this at writing of job descriptions and adverts. So write me a job description for a recruitment researcher. The salary is 30,000, based in Manchester. They will need to have at least 4 years in a similar role and be experienced in retained search. So that might be something that at some point all of us are looking for. So let's see how it does that. I like how it sets it out, by the way. It kind of it looks like it's about to be posted on Indeed.
Yeah. And again, it's just spitting it out, isn't it?
And
I assume it's just pulling from all the different job descriptions that it's seen on the internet, just like getting the best information.
Yeah. And some people get really technical and they're really thinking about where it's pulled from. I don't really care as long as it lists it. And what you can do, I mean, so our marketing guy said that it's not good to basically just plagiarize content. So what it can do is it can write things in a different way. So I've not tried this, but you can ask it to write this in the style of Shakespeare, okay, or in the style of something else. So I could put write this. Oh, hang on, let's go in the box.
Rewrite or
so I could
rewrite or
write this again in a more formal style. So I don't know what it's gonna kick out, but it'll kick out something that's slightly different. So if I was trying to put it somewhere else, or it's not really relevant on a job description, but it'd be more relevant say on a piece of content. You might want to lift a piece of content from Forbes, ask it to rewrite it, repurpose it, include something about your business, reposition it, and post it. We don't need to reinvent the wheel every time, do we?
No.
So there you go. So I'll just do a couple more, or one more.
Yeah,
James.
I think this next one's good for. This is a good one, isn't it? I think this is a specific benefit to people who are writing executive summaries in our intro, because as you said earlier, Paul, at the start of this call, it can be one of those things which takes up considerable time. So why not give yourself a bit of a head start? So let's see what comes out.
Well, so when delivering my last few shortlists, I've definitely used ChatGPT to help me with the executive summaries. And what I'm trying to do is give my opinion. So I may give it more instruction than this example, but I'm also pulling information from the CV, the key competency questions that they've answered in our intro, their LinkedIn profile. So I'm giving it a really good instruction, and seriously, with minimal editing, it's writing me really good, compelling job descriptions. The problem you've got, let's say, for example, your shortlist is 5 candidates. It's going to be a full day of your time, number one, writing the executive summaries, because you're proud of your shortlist and you want to make sure that they're great. It's hard not to repeat yourself when you've got 5 very similar candidates with 5 very similar backgrounds, perhaps even, they're at the similar points in their career. And you've got to sit there and you're trying to use different terminology and you're trying to make them look unique. And it's very difficult. This does it for you.
Yeah.
So let's have a look. So this is about you, James. So I've basically pulled your LinkedIn handle and asked it to write an executive summary about you and why you'd be a good managing director for a new recruitment company. And now you tell me, James, is this?
Well, it's some of it's very flattering, if albeit some of it is incorrect, because, for example, I don't know where it's picked up that work to Alexander Mann or Robert Walters, because I haven't. But I mean, these things aren't necessarily meant to be perfect, but it could be that's picking up somebody else, not me.
But yeah, no, I think, or maybe maybe you've got a recommendation in your LinkedIn
Yeah, from it could be.
from somebody who's worked there. So it's it's trying, is it? But again, that would be, so you might say then this needs 20% editing.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's
Just
great.
pull out the Robert Waters. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think what it's doing is helping you sort of look at a blank page and start from scratch. You can plug this in. I say you just picked up my LinkedIn handle, but yeah, as I said, you could add in other elements that you've already got. Some of the summary from McQuaig, some of the key competency responses, and just
Yeah.
really create this really personalised approach, and then show that to your clients in the executive summary. And again, adds value. Paul, and I know
Yeah.
I know you may not want to talk about specifics, but I know that you've just been working on a piece of work that took you, to be fair, took you a few months to land it. It was a big one in the US, and it's not always about the big roles. But I know, what you said to me last week is you met up with this client when you were at a trade show, and shared with them the shortlist face to face. You presented it. What was his thoughts, and how did that relate
Oh
to the
yeah,
chat GPT stuff?
Yeah, he was blown away. This was a company out of Helsinki, recruiting in the US, and here we are in Leeds conducting that search. And yeah, we met at a trade show in Germany, and I sat down with the iPad and I delivered it to him in brief and in person. When I say in brief, we were tucked away in a corner having a coffee, so it was a little bit difficult to look at the videos, but at least we could sort of get to sort of see and what the candidates are all about. And he was just blown away by it. I mean, he's never used a retained search provider before. He's certainly never used iIntro. He was, when we first started speaking with him, probably anticipating that I was going to pitch that I'd be sending him some CVs. But obviously, I gave him a demo of what we do, and he bought into it and liked it. And here we are, a couple of months on, delivering the shortlisting. He's absolutely delighted. And that's going to be, actually, it was 6 candidates that I delivered. So my shortlist is usually about 4, but because it's the first time I'm working with him, and it's something a bit different, it's 6. But yeah, I mean, he's gone away actually over the weekend, and we've invited a couple of his colleagues in to view the shortlist. The feedback is awesome, and I'm going out to the US in a couple of weeks to meet the candidates. So absolutely perfect example. And little do they know that ChatGPT really helps me put the executive summaries together.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly cheating, is it? It's just using technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the point I wanted to raise, is that you use ChatGPT to help you write those executive summaries. And that's really how we can, we think that this new technology, it's out there, it's available. We shouldn't, we should embrace it and actually see how can it help you improve the efficiency of what you do to make your life more easier. More easier, that's not very good English. Easier.
And
so from that side,
I'd be interested, James, I'd be interested to know, anybody who's viewing this, if they've been using it, what they've been using it for, and if they'd be willing to share with you some of those experiences. Because I'm a firm believer that as part of the iIntro family, we should share these things as we're doing now with each other. Very few of our customers and clients compete with each other, so kind of all in it together. So I'd be interested to know what other people's experiences are, and if they can suggest any interesting uses for ChatGPT or any other AI software.
Absolutely. Well, Paul, listen, it's been fascinating to see this. Thanks for the preparation in putting forward some of those ideas. I hope what it's done has inspired you to go out, register with ChatGPT, think about how you can use it in your day-to-day work to make your life more efficient in terms of dealing with the day-to-day business that we've all got. So thank you very much, Paul, for sharing that with us today.
No worries. One last tip, just while I think on, James. When you copy and paste out, I mean, someone might be able to tell me a better way, but when you copy and paste it out, when you then go and put it into an email or a Word document, you can do a special paste, and you choose to it's something like continue with the existing formatting. Otherwise, it puts it into boxes and it's difficult to edit. Yeah. So just a little tip. Yeah. All right, James, thank you.
That is a great little tip, by the way, Paul, because that would be one of the things that sort of confuses people. It confused me when I first did it as well. So I was using Notepad to get out. But yeah, great special paste. So a great tip. So listen, thank you very much, Paul Hickey, co-founder of iIntro and managing director and co-founder of Grass Greener Group. He's a day-to-day recruiter. If you're not already connected with Paul on LinkedIn, please do look him up. But thanks for your time today, Paul.
Cheers. Thank you.